Well, hello and welcome everyone to the BG5 Career and Small Business Overview. I'm Coach David Eldridge. I'm very happy that you're here. So thank you again. So we're going to zip through a very lengthy presentation here, lengthy maybe 25, 30 minutes. And this is one of the requirements to end up coaching with me. I want to give you a good background of what we're getting into and so forth so that when you decide that you want to go through this overview, that you'll do it with a lot of information behind you. So let's get cooking here. All right, so welcome to Grand Coaching Central. That's my little coaching platform. And welcome to the world's most advanced, most comprehensive, most far-reaching career and business analysis in the world today. I get a kick out of reading that. It's typically not something you'd ever hear me say, and at the same time, this is exactly the way I feel about the BG5 overview. So there you have it. A little quote by the Dalai Lama. Man sacrifices his health in order to make money. Then he sacrifices his money to recuperate his health. And then he's so anxious about the future that he does not enjoy the present. The result being that he does not live in the present or the future. And he lives as if he is never going to die, and then dies having never really lived. A very, very powerful quote here by the Dalai Lama. So a little couple of tidbits here, getting into your personal expression in the world. We see that worldwide, only 15% of employees are engaged at work. I have a very extensive Gallup poll, global workplace studies. So it's over 200 pages sitting here on my desktop. This is creating a major barrier to productivity everywhere. And what does it mean to be actually engaged? It means you care. So I don't really have to go into these details. You know these. Just look around the marketplace, look around in terms of the friends and people that you know. And we're seeing this as a real challenge in the world right now. Now we know also that careers and college majors often don't match for our students that come out of school, not finding careers that even studied and so forth. So we're having a real difficult time really in the world where people are finding their unique niche and their contribution in the world. How many people actually hate their job? What do you think the experience of hate does to our health over a period of weeks, months, and years? How much of that spills over to our children, our life partner, our friends, society? When I graduated from chiropractic school, we were told that 50% would never even open a practice, according to the administration of the school. And this is after 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of medical training, intense study, endless testing, student clinical practice, state licensing, national board exams, and most of my friends came out with significant debt, never to even open a chiropractic practice. So here's a question. What would be possible for you if you truly felt connected to your natural strengths, abilities, and direction? Now, when you get past 60, you can start to embrace a couple of things that have been true for you throughout a lifetime. And so I'm going to share one of those for me with you here today. But what do any of us really want in life? And how much of what we want do you feel just might be influenced by what the world is telling us to want? So here's the conclusion that I've come to. This is what I know that I know. And that is, at the end of the day, when all is said and done, this is what we truly want, simply to have the opportunity to contribute to others in a way that's true to our nature. So that's really what my practice is all about, is helping you be fully you, the real, genuine, authentic, empowered you. So the BG5 overview, it's 4 sessions, including this, it's 5. But we're going to do it after you view this and you get an inclination to connect. We want to test it a little bit more. We want to get together for a 30-minute complimentary session, really get to know each other a little bit more. I want you to feel really good about working with me. And I also want to have the sense that, hey, you're somebody that I feel like I can help. There's plenty of people I have available to refer you to somebody that I may feel might better serve you. So I'm definitely will do that when I feel like it's right. And then the actual overview, once you decide that we want to get started, then I go to work. It takes me about 3 hours to prepare a 50-page PowerPoint presentation. And then we'll set up our sessions from there. And basically there are 2 sessions that we'll go over that actually go through that 50-page PowerPoint presentation. And then we'll do the 4th session really is a Q&A, which lasts about 45 minutes. So in all total, really, I'm really spending about 7 hours of time really getting into your life, and what that's going to do is amazing things in terms of what we end up coaching with each other after that. But this will be invaluable for you. We'll have it recorded, these sessions, so that you can refer back to this from time to time. So really powerful. So what is BG5? BG5 stands for Base Group 5, and it is the career and business methodology of the human design system, also known as the science of differentiation. You are unique without question. And this science of differentiation was first introduced 30 years ago. The BG5 system is complex. I have to say this. I had to, for somebody who's a little simple-minded here, I had to look at it over and over and over and over again. But it's a synthesis. It's a synthesis of several ancient wisdom systems: anatomy, physiology, modern-day physics. And you can go to the BG5institute.com if you want to get some more information there. Essentially, again, it's all about helping you be fully you. There is a lot of empirical data behind this. Over 8 million people have come through the system. Could it work for you? Well, we'll see. Now, most of the analysis out there in the marketplace is really all about subjective analysis. What a subjective analysis means, basically, you're answering either pages and pages of questions, and you're going to give your answer to those. So you have a direct influence on the outcome. And we're only talking about your own conscious awareness with things. And so essentially you have a tremendous effect on the outcome of the analysis. With the BG5, what we're talking about is an objective analysis, which means you cannot influence what we share with you. So it's either right for you or not. So the data that we go by is the date of birth, place of birth, and the exact time of birth. So you'll be happy to know you don't have to answer any questions. So when we plug in your information, this is what we come up with. This is called a body graph. And you can't imagine how much information we glean from this body graph. It's extensive. And again, we cover not only the conscious awareness side of things in your life, we also cover the unconscious, and then we do a quantum of the conscious and the unconscious as well. Now we're looking at 16 tools really that we go over in terms of supporting you in your career, and while it's slanted towards your career, this is really a user's manual for you in your life, no matter what area of life, whether it's your relationships or whatever. Amazing kinds of information that we'll go over to really help you know yourself better. And so those 2 sessions are broken down, 8 of these in one session and 8 in another. You see I've got a couple of stars here because this is the keys to the kingdom within this system. And it's the keys to the kingdom in terms of our lives. This is how we make decisions. And so this is a life-changing kind of experience and really helping you. There's many different ways that different people make decisions. So we'll help you understand your unique way that you make decisions. And it's empowering. It's incredible. And it takes time. This stuff sinks into us over weeks, months, and years. But this is the keys to the kingdom. Over here is also the secondary keys to the kingdom is really understanding what gets in our way. This is really powerful, really understanding on a profound level what gets in our way and being able to really put it into a healthy perspective. 100% of the population has what are called, shortcomings. You know, it's not as big a deal as we're making it all out to be, with the endless number of different challenges and problems we all are supposed to have. So this is, again, along with this, these are two major pieces of this entire analysis. Next, let's get going. Let's get into, you know, kind of like a brief overview of all of these 16 tools. We start with your career type, which is like an overall operating system. And there are 4 types. Technically, there are 5, as one of the types is broken into 2 in terms of there's some differences with both of those. What we're going to share with you here is really understanding your unique energetic presence. What does that mean? Well, if you stretch your arms out to the side and you see how far apart that is and you double that, that's how close, when you start to come within that distance with people, including their energetic presence, you start to engage with people, not necessarily when you get right in front of each other, but some feet away. And each type has its own unique energetic presence, which you'll be able to feel at a certain point as well, once you become aware of it. You'll see this little statement here: awareness is liberating. And so, and hopefully that point will come through loud and clear. There's lots of things that we can become aware of that are really liberating. Let's just put it, let's just use the word that's there, and so forth. So also, each type has a natural way you're meant to profit. That's a good thing to know. Moving on here. Once you understand your unique kind of career type in terms of your energetic presence, we're going to explore and help you gain access to a greater understanding of the most natural way you can interact with others. And now your interaction with others can really soar. Less effort, more peace, more flow. Really, this entire body of work here is to help you remove interference. Interference in terms of you functioning in the world, reducing the effort so we can fall into a more harmonious flow with others in life. Now we come to the keys to the kingdom, how you make decisions. Why are decisions important? Well, if you've ever made a poor decision, like I've made, you know, who knows how many hundreds of poor decisions in life. But obviously the quality and potential of our life is really based on the decisions we make, because we have to deal with the directions they lead to and the consequences of those decisions. There's lots of major decisions that we all make in life. Marriage, for example, in our relationships, choosing a profession, which is really at a very challenging level out there in the world. People are struggling to find their direction and their contribution in the world. In other words, decisions are how we navigate through life. Now, interestingly enough, in the BG5 analysis, none of the decision-making strategies involve the mind. And you're going to find out how cool this is. Your decisions are found within the physical body, like an internal GPS system. Now, if you were in my practice on any given day, you would hear me say, the body never lies. The body never lies. It's because I had to rely on the body, because what people would share with me was they would omit things, they would outright fabricate things, and they would just tell me what they were kind of consciously aware of, and it was never enough. I had to rely on, you know, my clinical data in terms of any of the exam findings, any of testing, x-rays, blood work, those kinds of, I had to rely on what the body told me to rely on. So somebody came in and they were completely stressed out. They were a patient I'd been working on for some time, and within about 3 seconds, I put my hands on their neck and I'd go, what the heck's going on? You're under a lot of stress. And they would, you know, invariably, sometimes it would be very difficult to find out. They say, oh, I'm fine, everything's good. So I'd go face down, let me work on you a little bit. Then I'd say, no, nothing's happening. You know, whatever I'm doing, it's not effective. Sit them back up. What's really going on? You're really tense today, you know, you're really stressed out. And then invariably, you know, I had a great skill in order to reach people that developed over time. And I saw very early on in my career the correlation between what's going on in your life and the kinds of physical challenges that you end up facing. So invariably, they would actually start to share that. And then I'd put them back face down on the table, and I would see that their body would start to let go and change. So there's a lot to healthcare. It's not just a kind of mechanical process. There's a lot to kind of helping people, so to speak. So this is, again, a very, very different kind of information that you're going to be receiving, and quite extraordinary. So why not the mind? Well, you know, who's making your decisions? Are you making your decisions? What about your parents, friends, and teachers? What have they told you about who you are and who you should be in the world? What about media? How much are we getting hammered by all kinds of things coming at us on a day in and day out basis? Unless you are consciously turning those things off and you're really making an effort to know yourself better and really taking time and energy and months and years to really understand who you are, you're going to be making decisions based on a lot of stuff being thrown in your face. What about past experiences, future goals, current impulses? You ever make decisions off of those? What about peer pressure? Trying to fit in? Now, this is a major one, proving ourselves. I'll get into that when we talk about the things that get in our way in life. But when we are sort of have a diminished capacity in terms of our sense of self, we tend to try to prove ourselves, which when we end up over-promising, and we make decisions trying to prove ourselves that we can never fulfill, and it gets ourselves into trouble. Pressure to hurry. How about experts? You ever listen to experts? How about emotional highs? You're at a seminar, it's feeling really good. There's a big sale going on in the back of the room, and basically then we go into fear of loss. You better buy today, or we're giving you lots of value here, but the sale ends tonight, so you don't want to miss out. How you make a decision on those? All kinds of conditioning. Comparing yourself to others. Well, they did it, maybe I should too. So again, we're going to teach you about your own unique body intelligence that you can rely on, not just the mind's intelligence. Key indicators. Isn't it nice to know when you're on track and off track? So in number 4 here, this is a simple one. Later on in session number 2, we go into several more indicators to help you really understand when you're on track and when you're off track. Next is assimilation. Now, I was very skilled in digestive health. I worked with the founder, or I should say, really the person that brought digestive enzymes into the marketplace, really the father of enzyme nutrition, Dr. Howard Loomis. This was my focus, in addition to my hands-on care, was how you process food. It's great that you're getting plenty of protein in, but actually, are you assimilating it? So here we're talking about how you actually process information. How are you assimilating information? And while there's a few, like maybe 3 or 4 different ways that people process information, these are the major 2. A good deal of people have the ability to just process information on their own. They go home at night, they process information, they have a sense of what took place and so forth in a very easy and comfortable way. And then there's a lot of people who are collaborative. They are meant to work in partnership. Now, I work with a couple of business owners, for example. This is how this comes in. And they were solo business owners, and they were collaborative. When I shared this with them, that they're meant to work in partnership, it was like liberating. Just like awareness is liberating. You'll see this at the bottom of each slide. It truly is. And they were so grateful to understand that, they just feel like something's missing, something's not right. They can't put their finger on it. They don't know what it is. This collaborative assimilation style, it just simply means you're meant to work in partnership. Doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means you're meant to work in partnership. Powerful information. Environmental style. Now, guess what? Here I am, 40 years working one-on-one with people. Which one of these areas do you think the BG5 analysis put me in? Well, of course, I've been a solo practitioner, since the age of 22. I'm 62 now, so there you go. That hasn't changed. Now, There is a caveat, which is called your decision-making strategy, which is fascinating. This is not just a like totally mechanical. There's a lot of aspects that are mechanical, but in terms of like your decision-making strategy may have you work in any of these areas technically, and for a piece of time, or to learn something you don't know. But once you learn your decision-making strategy, that's going to be your GPS more than some contrived information like so many of us are operating on in the world today, the things we've been influenced by. So this is really meaningful and important, and you'll see why here in a few moments. Once we look at your environmental style, we're going to want to look at your business skills. These are the skills that you're going to bring to the table. And it comes out in terms of this particular graph. And so here's a person, we put him into the graph and shows that this person has skills in oversight and administration. So a business is only interested in 12 skills. It's not interested in all of your abilities and skills. It's only interested in these 12. 4 of them happen to be about the future, things like planning and setting up your administration and getting your culture in place. This is how we do things around here. Then the 4 on the right have to do with looking back in the past. How did we do? Did we do what the administration was set up to do? How about the finances? Did we make any money this past quarter, and so forth? And then 4 of them have to do with the future. Okay, things like public relations, have to do with the now. Are we attracting anybody to our business? Okay. Now we talked about the BG5, 5 being a penta. Well, so this is a perfect example. We have 5 people in a small business here, and we look at all of their skills that they bring to a particular business, and we see gaps. Any one particular gap could be leak a tremendous amount of resource out of the company that we have to make up with. And for here, we're looking at a situation where this company is not attracting, and it could be they're not attracting customers. Maybe they're not attracting good employees, people that really love being there, those kinds of things. So it's very difficult for this particular company to function at all. Okay, so any particular gap we're gonna pay specific attention to. And now we're getting into what's called business engineering at a very advanced and refined level, where we start to look and see how groups of people interact with each other, who affects who in different ways, and where is our business at energetically. That also translates into real dollars and cents. And over here we have an example of a fully functional business, 5 people. All 12 areas are covered within the 5 people, and we have a fully functional business there. Next, now in that business, for example, we're going to look at a deeper attribute that we want to see maybe show up. So let's give an example here of, let's say, accounting. So if we looked at a more refined aspect of this skill, accounting, which one of these 6 qualities would we want to have happen? Oh, of course, we'd want detail with accounting. This is going to be the quality we're going to look for in an individual person's skill level. So that will be revealed in terms of this information and what we're able to. Now, this is a very high level of refinement in terms of business engineering. You can't always get this. It's not necessary to actually, to the nth degree, make all this work. But it's nice to know. It's powerful to know about attracting the right people into our business. All right, session 2. Now we're moving into some really fascinating information. We're looking at what's called the 9 functions. We all have these. And when we look at all 9, we're going to be looking for each of us individually. There are some that are very consistent strengths available to us 24/7. And then there are some that are not. So in this number 9, we're looking at the strengths, for example, that are reliable, that are available to you as an individual, 24/7. So let's just take a look at drive and stamina. when somebody has drive and stamina, it's an adrenalized kind of pressure. They have a greater ability to handle physical and emotional pressure. So, if somebody is a professional athlete, you're going to want to see this, that in their design, that they have this as a consistent strength. So that's what we go into, is defining and showing you which of the 9 functions you have as consistent strengths. Again, you won't get tired of saying this. Awareness is liberating. Absolutely. So, and that's number 9. So then we get into number 10 here, and we see that another star. So this is so powerful, because, when you really understand that what you feel is all off with yourself, it's not as big a deal as we are all making it. We want to understand these things so we can put them in a healthy perspective. 100% of the population has shortcomings, has shadows. It's nothing. It's part of being a human being. And so this is some of the most powerful information that we can take in and understand. Now, this is a big area, because there is a hierarchy in terms of, again, 8 million people. We have the data to show about 63% of the population has their willpower as a shadow expression, which means it goes in and out. We have some of it, but it's inconsistent, it's unreliable. And what happens when that's diminished in our life? Well, I have this one, so I can tell you exactly what happens. Our self-worth. We may not know how much to charge for our services. We don't have a real sense of our own value in the world. And what happens then? Well, then we tend to overpromise. We tend to try to prove ourselves, and we get away from being who we are. Now, even though this is diminished, there's an enormous amount of wisdom that can take place when you have a diminished function. You have the ability to actually understand this whole arena of self-worth better than somebody who has it as a clear strength in their life. Because when you have it, you sort of take it for granted. You don't really understand that you have it. So this can lead to great, great wisdom, in addition to really understanding that it's just something that, a characteristic we have, that, it's just ours right now, for now, and that many, many, many people all have the same thing, and it's not that big of a deal. Very empowering information, very powerful stuff to really understand about ourselves. So moving on, this is a lot of fun, the public role, because here we describe our unique personality mask, so to speak, that we're wearing in this life. And we really understand it's our perfect role to play. And this is also, we talked about, indicators, when we're on track, and when, versus when we're off track. So these are things that will let us know in terms of on track, off track as well. So we're going to go over other things. This is just a small list of them, but this is the behavior that you identify with, how you sort of overall behave in the world. And then it's really nice to know how others perceive you, that you're not aware of, how you remember things. This is very, very interesting. Some people remember things that don't work, so they may come off as being pessimistic, but it's not. It's a real skill for them. So very interesting information. What allows you the greatest self-expression? Nice to get confirmation on that one. How do you bond? We bond in different ways. Some people bond, in terms of they're really looking for their soulmate. Others bond in different ways. So this is really, really interesting and fascinating. How you emotionally deal with others. Isn't that a good thing to know? So this is a fun place, and we really get to know ourselves and embrace this in very interesting ways. Life work. Yeah, now we start to get into some big overall themes in life. So this is mine, okay? And this is just a small example of what we go over in this particular area. You fulfill your purpose through mind, through thinking, educating, conceptualizing, explaining, and sharing, very much like I'm doing on this video right now, okay? And then a further kind of little piece of information. I have a connection with the past. I have a connection with the future, and so I can impact others in the area of direction. Well, having a wellness practice, it was always interesting, in observing people when they came in to come into my practice, because I put people through some hoops. You couldn't just come in, just like what we're doing here. You can't just come in to my coaching practice. You kind of look at things. You've got to watch this 30-minute presentation. Then we've got to sit through a 30-minute live connection, and then we'll decide, hey, this is looking good. This is important to me. This is my life work. And so, this is, I want to make sure that you're sincere in coming in, and that I'm the right person for you. I'm not, I can only connect with a few people. It's not like I have the capacity to work one-on-one with thousands of people. It's just a few people. So this is important. This is sincere, and I want this to be, impactful for you. So yes, throughout my life, I've had an impact in the direction of people's lives in terms of taking their health and wellness to another level. And now in this area of really you being fully you and moving forward and giving your gifts in the world. Because guess what? The world needs you giving your contribution without question. Now, as we look at the design, there's going to be some circuitry that we look at that has to do with these three areas. Now, I call myself a total life empowerment coach, and so you can deduce from that my circuitry, a lot of it ends up in being empowering and individualistic. And again, I've worked, solo. I've been my own boss, my entire life, and so a lot of my design ends up being, and it's part of the reason why I call myself an empowerment coach. Now, to clarify empowerment, I don't empower anybody. Again, getting back to awareness is liberating. You have everything already that you need to function in the world already inside of you. Our work together is going to be designed to really help you come in touch with your capacities, your strengths, your abilities, what gets in your way, how you're best designed to function in the world. And, it's not something I give you. Empowerment happens when you become more aware. Very important distinction. Some people, they're so, like, for example, police officers, they're going to have some tribal, because they're going to protect. These are individuals that their strengths are about protecting groups, and whether it's humanity at large, or you might have this when you're working in an organization that you love being a part of. And then there's people that are going to be wanting to be sharing their experiences and teaching what they've learned as they've gotten out there and done different things in life. This is a collective aspect in terms of they're going to be sharing this, not necessarily one-on-one with people like I do. They're sharing it with large groups of people. It's not directed at any one group of people. It's the collective. And they could be sharing their experiences, or they could be sharing their logical understanding of things. So that's how this works. And this is really important information to grasp as well. Now we get into the superpowers. Yeah. So this is fun, because it's nice to know what our superpowers are. And what's interesting, like, I have two strengths that show up in my design. And so a lot of times we get caught up in, well, is there a good number of strengths? And the answer is no. It's not necessary. Like my daughter, she has a few different strengths that show up, more than show, but it's not the number. In this system, there is no good design or poor design. There is your design, and that's what we're interested in. We're interested in understanding and focusing on. There is no comparison, like, I wish I had this or wish I had that. That does not exist in this system, just to let you know. There's no better way to have it than the way you have it, so to speak. So we're going to look into this, though, in terms of really understanding, but not just that, not just understanding what your strengths are, but when they're best utilized. How do they tend to come out in the world? And so this is the most important, is really understanding when they're meant to be shared. It's not like you go around just sharing your strengths all the time. So this is really important and very detailed information. Now, as we move forward, excuse me, we're going to be looking at some characteristics of those unique strengths, of those superpowers. So that's what we do in number 15, is really just go into more detail of your superpowers and describing their unique qualities and characteristics. And then finally, we're making it here to the end here, and we're going to look at large business strengths. In other words, where would you fit in if you were attracted to a larger organization or a larger business or a larger company or a larger, for example, if you were contributing into a nonprofit organization, your time and energy as a gift, where would you fit in? So this is somebody who fits in as an executive in a large organization. This person is highly individualistic. They would need their own office. They're going to be working in the area of competitiveness within this company, and looking at, where are we competing in the marketplace and that kind of thing. So this can help you if you're looking at being hired, for example, in a large organization. This can really help you to know where you might end up and where it would be classic for you to end up. And then where you might be pulled. Also, you might be pulled into different areas because there is a lot of strength in that area, not necessarily, executive, but maybe you have other strengths as well that people are going to perceive, company president might perceive, or who's ever hiring might perceive. And so this will help you understand that. So, wow, that was pretty good. I don't think it went too long here, but here's some programs that we get into after we do your individual. We can put you into partnerships. We can do a partnership analysis once we've done yours. And so, with your life partner, whether it's business or personal, how do you measure up with your children? You can look at a partnership or relationship with your son or your daughter, and and then put all of you in a penta and look at how you all interact and affect each other. So we can do a family dynamics kind of analysis. And then this is the first thing I do, this particular that we just went over, for a business owner, a small business owner. Now I'm only certified to work with small business, which means 9 people and less, including the ownership. And so I'm only interested in working with small businesses. So that's that. And then, like I said, this evaluation, these are coaching programs I've been connected with for some years. Building Your Dream and Play to Win and Inner Freedom and World Power. So, do you think this gives me a different perspective in terms of the classic coaching paradigms that are out there? I can't tell you what it's done to these that I was already, skilled at, in many ways, and what understanding somebody on this level does to the classic coaching profession is unbelievable. Literally puts everything on steroids. And then, because this is a couple little areas that I love, I've been doing for a long time. What's called an insight session, I make available at a discounted price, typically, to connect with me and do a coaching session for 45 minutes would be like $150. This is a whole different realm. This is like improv. You and I come together and we're jamming. It's like something's come up in your life and it's maybe been on your mind for some time. You say, "Hey, Coach Dave, let's connect. Let's go into a session together and let's try to see what we can come up with. Let's gain some insight on my situation." And so this is something that's just a love of mine, just to connect in free form, so to speak, and really jam together and use that mastermind principle to see what powerful information comes through that can light you up and set you free. So I can't do that very often because the price is low, and so that's limited to 6 per year. And then there's a meditation vacation, which I also can do for only 6 per year. But you and I get together, you lie down, and I ask you for permission to, to scan your body. And during that time, I go into meditation with you, and I check into your body and try to help your body relax as much as possible. And then we come out of that very gradually and slowly. It's just a nice way to just settle in and relax. And when your body's just lets go for a piece of time, it's very, very healthy for you, and it's a wonderful experience. So I love doing that. And so that's available again for I don't know if I can do that many per year, but for now, that's where it is. So I hope you got that. Awareness is liberating. That's a big, kind of little gem there that I put on every page there. So thank you for being here, and I really appreciate your time. And now you are ready, and you can give us a call and fill out one-page form. It takes you a short period of time. It's 5 minutes. We get you set up for your 30-minute overview, where we kind of check in and see what we can do. Thanks again, everybody. Bye for now.